It seems like the season's going fast, and got a really important game going down to Blacksburg, and playing in front of a sellout crowd, white out, I guess. Bring all that stuff on. Our kids will be excited to play in that atmosphere. So, questions?
Pat, on Monday, you said you didn't know who your starting quarterback would be for this game. Do you know now?
I've got a good idea.
You're willing to share that?
Nah.
Okay.
Jerry, you know why.
Yeah,
we don't know who their starting quarterback is. They ain't gonna know who ours is.
You don't know who theirs is going to be either?
I don't think so.
The first guy was hurt.
He was hurt, and there's a chance he's back, So, but I think Jerome's played good, so I expect him.
You guys have to prepare for two different styles?
They always do. Everybody has to.
But those guys are two different styles, right?
A little bit. They'll still run the Wells kid. I think he's tough. He's physical. He ran, quarterback draws and all the quarterback counters, which they still run. I think, but is it going to be less? What's his injury? Is it a shoulder? Is it a high ankle sprain? What is it? But we do know he was, warming up in Huntington last week and moving around, so he looked like he could have played. So, has he been beat out? I don't know, or is he still lingering injury? You don't know. So, we will prepare. We got game plan for both of them.
What jumps off the film about drones when you watched it?
What stands out?
Yeah.
Great question. He's physical. He's tough. I mean, I think he's like a running back there. Their tailbacks are 200 pounds, pretty much 202, 205. He's 240, maybe 235. So I think he's a powerful guy. He's explosive. He's got a gun on him. So I mean, I think he can make every throw. But he's a physical guy. So I think we have to wrap him up, hit him low. I think what we call our sweep tackle. I think you have to. I think he's a load, and he's run the ball more. I would think they're going to run the ball with drones more than they would with Wells. So there's probably a more significant run game when drones be on the field.
The last few weeks, Rodney's seen an uptick in production. Is it safe to say he'll get another heavy workload this week?
Yeah, I hope so. As long as he's doing it right. We thought he ran the ball well last week, so yeah, he's gonna get the workload to start off with. And Sebo's been really good too. So I mean, I like what Sebo's in there too.
I don't know if there has been more, but it feels like we've had more false starts through the first 4 games. I don't know if the numbers line up, but hearing the crowd noise behind us, you're obviously going to be in a loud environment. Have you identified some of the issues that maybe led to some of the false starts? You feel like you've corrected some of those things?
It goes down. It starts with the 4 different lineups we've had, right? Anytime there's a change at center, you're going to have issues. Sometimes, like last week, it's not snapping the ball fast. You're supposed to snap the ball. If you're a tick late, guys are out of there. If you start to get in the rhythm of what it is, so I think that's one of the issues. I think is it's just the timing and everything together. You got a brand new center. Those things are going to happen. So we hope to eliminate them this week. We've worked the crowd noise like the Steelers are working here. So we've got the crowd noise. We got everything we could possibly have.
On the note of the offensive line, how would you say the run blocking has improved in recent weeks, and what still needs to get better?
Everything needs to get better. I mean, you're never done. It's the same thing with the D line and linebackers and their fits. I mean, there's never we're never happy. We're always constantly trying to get more. So it's but it's a gradual improvement every week. I think you got some new guys up there. Terrence Moore playing his first game last week. He obviously has major needs. And, first thing is snap it on time. That was one of the issues. We thought we were offsides on that sack that we took last week, which pinned us back, and then then you're punting out of your own end zone. I mean, that was I thought the left tackle was offsides. They didn't call it, so I think the quarterback did too. But it's kind of the world we're living in.
It seems like over the past couple of weeks and progressively throughout the season, you've tried to find new ways to get Kenny Johnson the ball. Is he keep moving in the right direction, and you guys going to keep trying to do that this week?
We're going to keep getting the ball. I think he feels more comfortable. It's hard as a freshman, true freshman, and I think he's giving everybody a little bit more confidence when you watch him return that kickoff. It's like we just got to find more ways to get him. But again, it's not just throwing it to Kenny. I think we got to find more ways to get it to Bub and Kanate and Gavin and Carter Johnson and all those guys. I mean, but it ends up being like, who are they covering? I mean, it's a bad decision by the quarterback if he throws it to a guy because he likes him, or thinks he's going to be open. You can't think he's going to be open. He's either open or he's not, and you got to go through your progression as a quarterback.
They have the best punt returner in the conference. I think he leads in average and yards. I mean, what are you guys looking to fix up on your punt coverage there to make sure another one doesn't get taken back?
A lot. I'm glad you asked that question, Noah. We've worked a lot of the double gunners. Like we're ready this week. Just beating two men. We had not seen it coming into that game. We had not seen that coming into our game last week, and we did not attack it very well. We didn't do a good job. And again, it's a poor job coaching. You can't work everything in a week. In a week, you can't. All you can do is take what you see on tape, and they had a totally different look. So obviously they felt like they had to do something different, to stop us from covering punts, and we had been good, up to that point. Again, it starts with the punt and placement of the punt, but we did make good decisions at the gunner spot, but we weren't prepared as well as they needed to be. So we'll be a lot more prepared because Virginia Tech likes to do it. They did it going into the game, so we know they've had practice it. They do a good job at holding up their gunners. Beamer ball, they're good at it. I don't know if Frank's been around coaching up their gunners or not, or their jammers, I should say. But they do a good job. That's why they're not a big punt block team, but they'll come after it. I expect them to try to come after us as well, because that's also what Beamer did, and they do a good job doubling your gunners. So we got a plan here, and let's hope it's just like everything else that we got a little bit better from last week, because last week wasn't good enough.
And you've had some new bodies or guys in different positions at the linebacker spot. How do you feel like that's graded out, especially this week with potential mobile quarterback?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, we've had Shane in there, which has been sound and solid. Sully, I mean, I don't want to say it's like the offensive line, but it's a little bit like it. Then you move Solomon to Shields from the star to move him to the money, and then all of a sudden now you bring in a new guy to star. So it's really breaking two positions. So but there's carryover from both those positions, but still, it's still change, and you don't like to go through change too much. But, so we'll see where we are this weekend at that position. And, but either way, it's another week that if we go with the same lineup we did last week, we'll be a week better than we were going into that game.
My old cons Bub had a very good summer, very good training camp. What do you think's been holding him back so far?
A little bit of everything. I mean, he starts off, against Cincinnati, has a great catch on the sideline. Unfortunately, he's out of bounds, right? That's where it started there. But Bub is such a great kid. He's so enthusiastic. He's positive all the time. He plays. I mean, he loses 10 pounds a day. This guy. I looked at him yesterday, and he's just got sweat rolling down his legs. I'm like, he's the only one like that. This guy works his tail off, and I want to see better results for him. But sometimes he rushes his work. He'll just like, I'm fast, so I'm just going to get there instead of doing it with technique. So that will help him. It's also some of the coverages they've run will take him out of it as well. So it depends on what they're doing back there. But we got to get Bub going because he's a big play threat. But it all depends on what they're giving you.
Rasheem Baz has blocked punts in back-to-back weeks. What have you seen from him on film that has allowed him to do that?
Rasheem's got a little knack for it. I mean, he's got great eye-hand coordination. I'd say that. It's not like we're setting everything up for him to go block it. He's just doing it. Like, sometimes just guys make plays. He's one of those playmakers, and he's going to be a great linebacker one day, too, because he did the same thing, in fall camp. I mean, sometimes he goes the wrong way, but he's got to make a play. But once we get him coached up on defense, he's going to be good. But, he's just making plays. I mean, there was no call for, we're not calling him, the Sheen block, let's get Sheen through there and go. He's just making a play, and so I can't tell you it's great coaching. It's called players make plays, and I think that goes across the board when we talk about playmakers. Coaches are supposed to put you in position to make plays, and it's on players to make plays. And we try to put him in position as we can, but Biles has made plays. He's a guy that we're not going to redshirt. We're just going to keep playing him. He can help us on special teams. He can run down on kickoff. He can do a lot of different things. So if he's going to help us win, we're going to play young guys like that because he's got a good motor.
Charlie talked about it this week, how you guys are, I think, 39-6 in your time here when you win the turnover battle. What do you guys do to create so many opportunities to force turnovers?
No, we're not creating enough. Okay, so whatever we did in the past, we need to get back to it. So if you find out, let me know. But sometimes, I mean, what do? I mean, you almost had one in the first play of the game last week, which could have been a gigantic momentum change, and we don't get it. We got to risk forward. We do a turnover circuit every day. You guys see it on Tuesdays. I think you guys are there for most of that. We're trying to create. We try to do the same thing during practice about getting the ball back. whether it's interceptions or trying to cause a fumble the way they're caused. And the same thing on offense. We're trying to eliminate those, and we got to eliminate those. To win the turnover ratio, you can't give them up. And then if you get one, you're +1 and you're happy. That's how you win football games. And that's how you lose games if you're -2 like we were last week against a really good North Carolina team.
Marquez has not been targeted often. Marquez has not been targeted often this year. Is that a product of his play? Is that a product of teams throwing away from him? Why do you think that is?
I don't know what it is. I mean, you have to go ask those other offense coordinators. I think he's been targeted. I mean, he told me last week he didn't give up a catch after the game. Then I watched the tape and he did give up a catch. So I'm like, wait a second. Quiz? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was when he wasn't. When he was pressed. He wasn't pressed on it, but he played off and they hit a curl on him. I haven't had a chance this week. Even you're so busy, I haven't had a chance to call him out on that. But I'll get him now. He'll probably be watching your news feeds, I guess. I tweet it out afterwards. He'll probably see it. I don't know. I mean, he's a good football player, and but we feel good with all those guys. Sometimes you get targeted, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's, I don't know. Knock on wood. Hoping I didn't give up any targets this week.
Pat, it seemed to me a couple times last week in third and long situation, the 86 is making his way off the field, and you're going 4 wide. Given his productivity and the fact he's the most reliable guy you got, especially downfield, should there be any situation where he's not involved when you got to throw the
There
ball?
should be not any situation, but if he's coming off the field, it's because he's tired and he tapped out. Because I don't think we take him out, but after depends on how many plays in a row he went. But I would imagine if it's first down, second down, I'm going to call him right now as soon as I get out of here. Will, if it's first down, second down, and third down, I don't think he's out on the first third down. But if it's a 6 or 7 plays, if they do this, that means they pulled themselves out. But we got great confidence in Carter Johnson as well, man. That guy's made plays when he's had opportunities. I mean, I haven't seen Carter drop a ball yet either. So we know, we're not taking him out on purpose. I can tell you that.
I mean, considering, Phil obviously looks like if he's available, he's got a lot of confidence in him. If you got to go to Christian, does it look like how important is he just in terms of letting these guys relax? Gavin.
How important is he for what?
Helping them relax, and I mean, if they got to throw the ball, he's obviously been dynamic in that phase of the game.
Right. You're saying just
being out there
help
like
them?
a security blanket almost. It seems like out of your guys.
No question about it. I mean, you know who's making those contested catches and who's not. And he's one of those guys that is, and you certainly got to go to him. So I think everybody feels good with Gavin when he's out there.
And if it is Christian, what do you think some of the things he learned from it, looking back at that tape in the second half there? Or that you hope that he learned?
I think there's a lot. I think when you get your first action of 23, you learn a lot. He's got to get into the right checks at times, which he didn't all the time, and those are some obvious things that we see in our room. Some different alerts that he needs to be aware of, that he needs to make sure he does what we want him to do, not does his own thing out there. We got a lot of faith in Christian, and like I said, you guys think I'm like a broken record. I love Nate Yardell too. I'll say it again. I wish we could play a 3-quarterback system, Jerry. Maybe we put that in.
I thought you said you weren't going to rotate guys.
Huh?
Didn't you say you weren't going to rotate
I
guys?
said 3 at the same time.
Oh.
3 at the same time. I didn't say 3 different series. Just put all 3 of them in there.
3 at the same
Really
time
good.
would be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
What kind of week did Phil have?
Phil had a good week.
Was that the best you've seen him play in a Pitt uniform that first half against North Carolina?
You know what? It's been a while since I looked at Wofford, but he was pretty good against Wofford. But it was Wofford, so as far as a Power 5 game, I would say that first half was really solid.
Was it just as simple as taking what's there? I mean, what did he do well?
He made good decisions with the football. That's the first thing. It's about decision making, and I think he was on target more. I think he was just a little bit more comfortable for whatever reason. He was comfortable.
Virginia's head coach Brent Price spoke about having a relationship with Christian when they were at Penn State together. So I was curious, when you have a quarterback and they've been in the same room with the coach that they're going to be facing, is there any concern going into a game, or do you just stick with the same game plan as you were?
Christian's playing in a different offense at Penn State, so whatever he was at Penn State, he's different now, whether it's good or bad. I'm not worried about what Coach probably thinks about Christian when he was at Penn State.
Anything else before we wrap up? Okay, Coach, thank you for your